Hi there, my name's Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm talking about the Guitar Center Martin D-16e Special Guitar. Okay, so the D-16e Special Guitars. Now, the 16 series is made in the USA at the Nazareth Martin factory, and they are obviously a more affordable version of a Martin guitar. So they'll usually make like a GPC or a Dreadnought, and they'll make a thinner body. The thing about the Guitar Center version of this model, and this is obviously based on the Dreadnought, is that they're doing a full-size body. So this is basically a Martin HD28 with satin back and sides, as you can see on this particular guitar. Really, really nice satin back and sides here. Let me show you the backwood there. Really, really nice grain. Sitka top, as you would get on an HD28. Again, really nice silking, really nice grain. You see that? And just a couple of lines either side where it's book matched, but I've seen not as nice tops on the HD28s these days. So really nice top. The bridge pins are different, the saddle's different. It's not a bone saddle, it's not the plastic bridge pins. But that's fine, they're easy to change. You do have the simple dovetail neck joint, which I was not really a fan of on the OM-JM Martin, but that's how they're saving some money. You don't get the herringbone, and you don't get the diamond inlays, you get the dot inlays, like a D28. You also don't get the vintage style tuners, you get these more sort of modern tuners instead. But they're very functional and they're good. So really you're getting a guitar that's very close to an HD28, which these days are not cheap, and sacrificing a few things in the process. But you're also getting some other stuff. You're getting a pickup. This is the Matrix Enhanced pickup that Martin used on some of their guitars. You're also getting the strap button, which you normally have to install after the fact, and also obviously the M-pin jack as well with the plug-in there for your pickup. So there's a lot of value here. This guitar retails under $2,000, at least at the time of this video. And the thing about Guitar Center is sometimes throughout the year they have 15% off. So if you can find one of these for the current price with the 15% off and then plus the tax, you're looking at a substantial saving over an HD28. Now, is it even fair to compare this to an HD28? Not really. Of course, it's a different guitar. All guitars are different, and we should judge them on that. But I think this is a great thing to look at if you're on a budget. If your budget is under $2,000, you want a made in the USA Martin guitar, and you need to plug in, you need a pickup in there, then this is definitely worth considering. So I want to try it today, give you some examples, and give you my thoughts on it as a guitar. But I'm really impressed. The first impressions are really good. Like, I wasn't expecting the neck to be as nice as it is. I thought they would sacrifice on the quality of the neck, like some of the even lower series have sort of a rough neck to them. This is a really nice feeling neck. It feels, basically the same as a standard series in my opinion. The body's really nice. You might prefer the satin finish. It's got like a slight kind of, semi-gloss kind of waxing to it. You might prefer that. And some people say it lets the guitar breathe as well. So I think this thing looks amazing. Obviously, we're judging this particular model. All guitars are different. And also the weight. This is on the heavier side for an HD28, but only a few ounces than the heaviest HD28 that's currently listed on Sweetwater. And that would account for the battery and the pickup system. So everything here indicates that this is an HD28 with a simple dovetail neck joint. Basically, you've got the scallop bracing and everything else. The only other difference is you get a gig bag instead of a hard shell case. Again, if you're gigging, if this is for plugging in and gigging, you might prefer that. The gig bag is very good. I've been a fan of those gig bags before. You might have to buy a hard shell case for this, especially in the winter or for travel, and that will add to the price. So take the base price that we're paying for this, and then if you do want a different pickup, a hard shell case, change the tuners, change the bridge pins, change the saddle, is it worth it? Is it worth it to you? Factor that in to this decision. But let's play this and see what it sounds like through the microphone. Today I'm using the Tascam Portacapture X8. Big fan of this thing lately. and let me know what you think of the sound. But this will be the guitar strummed and fingerpicked through the Tascam. So I gotta say, in the room, and these things always sound different in the room to on a video, by the way, they just do. And especially like I'm sitting here, and the microphone is down there. So I want to give you my thoughts as well. But I gotta say, this guitar, it feels amazing. It sounds really good. It's got a brighter tone. It's more of a modern tone. Now, is that due to this particular guitar? Is it down to the neck joint? I assume it is, because I haven't been a fan of that neck joint in the past. Like, it takes some of the low end away, especially when I tried it on the OMJM. So maybe it's the same here. But I gotta say, this guitar is bigger, and therefore that compensates a bit. And I like it. I like the balance of this, because the tone is a bit more modern, a bit more bright, a bit more cutting. And I feel like that would be good. Like if you're outside and playing and you want to really cut through, I think that would be a good thing if you like that tone. If you're looking for a more classic, vintage, warmer tone, I don't think this particular guitar would be for you. If you're looking for something more modern, and if you want something to plug in with the strap and more modern sound, you should definitely check these out. It sounds really good. Now, I don't have an HD28 to compare this to, but I do have an HDC28. So that's got the cutaway and the Baggs Anthem. And it's a different guitar. But just to give you some kind of reference, I'm going to play that guitar and then play this guitar so you can compare the two. But remember, comparison is the thief of joy. So maybe you won't like this as much after hearing that one. Maybe you'll like it more. That's what the comments section is for. Please let me know in the comments below which one you prefer and what you think of the tone of this as a whole. By the way, these are brand new Martin strings. Also got brand new Martin strings on the HDC as well. This ships with 12s. That has 12s. The HD28s that you buy these days will have 13s when they ship. So let's compare the two of these and see which one you prefer. Let's start with the HDC28E and then switch back to the D-16e Special. I almost called this an HD28. It's the D-16e Special. Okay, here we go. So what did you think? Again, I know they're different guitars. That's got a cutaway. It's got the Anthem. Sometimes I say the Anthem makes the sound warmer. That's for another video, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, this holds up really well. This is just a brighter sounding guitar, but not in a bad way. Not in a cheap, tinny, stringy, tinny kind of way. Just in a more kind of cutting, modern way, which I actually really like. It's kind of hard for me to compare these two because I like some things about this and some things about that. That's all down to personal preference. But I think, like I said earlier, if you can find one of these, especially with that discount, 15% off, this is a real contender for the standard Martin series. I think this is really impressive and a bit of a hidden gem. Now, one more thing before we wrap this up. It does have a pickup. It basically has a matrix undersaddle, which a lot of people like. I tend to avoid undersaddles lately unless they're part of a dual source or tri-source system. But this has an undersaddle matrix, also a body sensor. It's a good system. They now make a version of this called the PowerTap Infinity, which has taken it even further. It lets you have a stereo jack and have the output split if you want to process them separately. I kind of wish this had that. I find this system a little bit on the bright side, but you can always fix that with EQ. I actually quite like this system. I think it will suit a lot of people. Just want to go out and plug in sometimes. The only thing for me is, as a side note, lately I use in-ears a lot. So I need something with a microphone or IR based, but you could run this through something like the Baggs VoicePrint DI to improve the tone further. So I think that's a solid system. If you bought this pickup by itself and added it to an HD28, okay, granted it would be the new version, which I just said is better, but it would also be $300. So factor that into your decision as well. Obviously, we're talking about budget here. If we weren't, you just buy an HD28 and the latest Fishman pickup and install it, and you would use that, right? We're talking about, is this worth it for the saving involved? And I think it is, depending on your situation. So let me show you what the pickup sounds like directly plugged in now. Okay, so I have reviewed the Aura version of this before, which basically takes the undersaddle and adds an impulse response. This doesn't have that. This just has a matrix undersaddle and the body sensor. So let's hear the matrix by itself. This will sound like any other matrix you've heard in a Martin. It'll sound the same way, that kind of undersaddle sound. You do have a control here that boosts the treble and the bass, effectively cutting the mids to change the tone, and a volume control. I wouldn't really use those. I just leave them on, tone off and volume on 100%, but you might like those. So this is no enhance. This is just the matrix straight in. I'm sure you've heard this sound before on other guitars. So it's an undersaddle, is what it is. Okay, let's add the enhance now. Let's do full enhance and see what that sounds like. Without the enhance, and then with it. So I'll play without, and then I'll add it in for 100%. So it definitely adds some more kind of mic-like qualities. It definitely adds more percussive sounds if you want to drum on your guitar. I think it's a good, solid addition. It's not heavy at all. I've seen this system before. It's incredibly light. The part that sticks here is incredibly light, almost just a piece of plastic. So I think this is great. Now, in the room with some EQ, I got this sounding really usable. I was really enjoying it. It will add more feedback with the body sensor, like any body sensor would. Just EQ out the resonant frequency. I have some videos on EQ soon, so please subscribe to see those in the future. But it does sound very good in the room, like a lot of piezo pickups do. The thing is, I personally gig with in-ears a lot. And in the in-ears, it's not cutting it for me. I would have to run it through something like a VoicePrint DI, some kind of IR loader. So for that reason, the pickup for me wouldn't really be enough. I might consider changing it as well to something else, and that's going to add to the price. So let's wrap this up, because there's a lot has been said about this guitar. I'm going to try and summarize it for myself. So for myself, I'm really impressed with the build quality. I think the build quality and looks is better than some of the standard series that I've seen lately. It also has, on this particular guitar, the all black fretboard. Now that is dye. I did rub it with some tissue. Just get some tissue, very slightly damp tissue, and rub it on one of the frets, and it will go completely black. That means the fretboard has been dyed. I like that the new guitars are not dyed because that won't happen, and you just have to find one that looks uniform if that's what you're looking for, or you might like the pattern they have now. But the thing is, the looks get a thumbs up from me. This thing looks up there with some of the best looking guitars I've seen. The sound has impressed me. It's a thinner sound, a brighter sound, whatever the right word is, as I was expecting, because of the way the build quality is slightly different to the standard series, but not in a bad way. It just makes it more modern. Now, I don't think I would like this build with the thinner bodies like they have on the regular D16 guitars, because then it's going to be very bright, right? Because of the thinner body will reduce the bass as well, exposing more top end, and then the whole thing's very bright. Now, if you want that, that's great. The thinner bodies are comfortable. I like them on the OMs and guitars like that. But for me, Guitar Center did a great thing with this design because you get more bass and it makes it a really nice kind of modern, bright sound, but still with enough low end, again, for myself. So I like the tone of this for that reason. And I like it kind of equally to the other guitar I showed earlier for a different reason. And then the pickup system, again, really solid system. I know some people love the undersaddle matrix pickup, so you're going to be absolutely fine with this. For me, I use in-ears. I'm going to have to run this through other pedals. So really for me, this doesn't really make sense because I already have a 28E cutaway with a good pickup that I can use with in-ears. As much as I'd like to own one of these as well, because I think it's really cool, I don't need this. But who is this for, in my opinion? This is for someone that's shopping right now for an acoustic guitar that you can gig with a gig bag ready to go out of the door. You don't have to buy an HD28, add an end pin, add a pickup, buy a gig bag. You're ready to go and gig with this immediately. That's who this is for. And if your budget is under $2,000, closer to kind of $1,500, under $2,000, and you want a Martin that's made in Nazareth, I highly recommend you at least go and check these out. Now, I'm not sure if these are limited. I'm not sure if they're making more of these or not, what the deal is. And I saw another one in the store last week that I didn't like as much as this. It didn't look as nice. I didn't think it sounded as nice. It sounded warmer, but the strings were dead on that guitar. So definitely check these out if you're in the market. If your budget is $3,000, $4,000, I would suggest you look online at someone like Sweetwater that has pictures of each guitar and just find a really nice looking HD28. And when you come to choose a pickup, check out my playlist of acoustic guitar pickup reviews that I have on the channel. So there we go. A really exciting guitar. I'm glad I got to try one of these. I am a fan, and I highly, highly recommend that you check them out. And please, this is a two-way discussion. So if you own one of these, or if you've tried one of these, whether it's this Guitar Center version or the thinner version from Sweetwater or another dealer, please let me know in the comments below what you think and how is your guitar aged? Are you a fan? Are you happy with your purchase? Give me some feedback as well, because I've only had this for a few days. I've not had a chance to really try it long term, so your opinions will be really interesting to myself as well. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. I've got more videos coming soon, but this was the Martin D-16e Special. I hope I said that right throughout the whole video, and it gets a thumbs up from me. Go and check one out when you can. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.